Hello everyone and welcome to the Sideline, the place where you get all the highlights for your favorite South Florida teams. My name is Kenneth Bueno.
And I'm Alfredo Benegas, and this is the last show before we go off for summer break, and we have a special surprise for you at the end of the show. So for the final time this season,
the Sideline starts now. The 2023 NFL Draft kicks off tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern with the first round of picks. The NFL's 3-day, 7-round event is being held for the first time ever in Kansas City, Missouri, and is taking place from Thursday, April 27th to Saturday, April 29th. The Miami Dolphins won't be selecting until the second round as a result of their involvement in an illegal tampering scandal which required them to forfeit their own first-round pick. Also, they no longer have additional first-round pick they had acquired in a trade with the 49ers after trading it away to the Denver Broncos for pass rusher Bradley Chubb. Since the Dolphins don't own a first-rounder, their earliest selection is the 51st overall pick in the second round. However, with the unpredictability of the draft, we can't count out the possibility of a trade up until the first round. But for that, we will have to wait and see what the Dolphins decide to do tomorrow night.
the Miami Marlins have caught fire following their 4-7 start, winning 8 of their last 12 games. The Marlins, however, had one of their worst games of the season on Monday. They were in Atlanta to play the Braves, and they were looking like their 2021 team going against, well, the 2021 Marlins. The Marlins didn't score a single run while the Braves scored in almost every single inning. The final score was Marlins 0, Braves 11. The Marlins will look for redemption over the next 2 games against the Atlanta Braves.
Prior to an electric Game 4 of the NBA playoffs between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat, fans lined up at the Kaseya Center and were hyped in what turned out to be a Game 4 win for Miami.
It's loose.
I think Miami's got this in the bag. Their shooting is outstanding, and I don't think right now anybody can beat them the way they're playing right now. And the fan base is awesome. It's amazing. The way everybody supports the White Hawk culture and the Miami Heat culture is amazing.
I'm pretty excited. You know, Giannis comes back tonight, but I'm not worried. I think Bam's going to lock him up. I think we're good. We're ready. I think it's going to be even bigger. The crowd's going to be even louder, and we're going to win. We're going to win the game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. I think Jimmy Butler is going for 30-plus tonight, even maybe a triple-double. But it's got to be everyone besides Jimmy. Jimmy can't be the only one helping us.
Jimmy Butler's going to take over. I think the Heat are going to win this game. Giannis is still kind of hurt. He's not 100%. So I think the Heat take the dub tonight, winning 5 or 6. There's nothing like Heat culture, and that's what it takes to beat a team like the Bucks. And they can't hang with them. So go Heat.
As you can see, there's a lot of people here. I think we came out to support our team, and hopefully we come out on top today. I mean, I'm from Miami. I don't care if we play the Golden State Warriors. I'm going to think the Heat are on top always.
Hey, man, I haven't gone to a game in 8 years, and I bought a ticket today, so I'm ready. I wouldn't be here if they weren't going to win.
I mean, I'm a day one, so I stayed through the struggles, so I believe in my team, so I think we're going to take it and we'll pull it off. So I think it's going to be tough, but we're going to pull it off. We're going to pull it off.
They got Goliath. It's just Giannis. Without him, basically they're not going to win anything. So it's really that guy that makes Milwaukee. Milwaukee basketball, besides him, is a joke. Maybe we're David in this battle. We're going to take him down, man. That's Miami. We'll slingshot him. We'll get him.
And Jimmy Butler, a historic 56-point performance in this Game 4. A 21-point fourth quarter from Butler. A career.
The Miami Heat will suit up and travel to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks once again in Game 5 at the Pfizer Forum. Reporting from the Kaseya Center in downtown Miami, Kenneth Bueno of the South Florida Media Network.
The Florida Panthers are on the brink of first-round elimination as the Boston Bruins hold a 3-1 lead in the series. Our NHL specialist, Tony Jimenez, is going to tell us whether we're going to see the comeback Cats or if they're going to be on the first flight back to Cancun.
Hey, Alfredo, honestly, at this point, I'm not sure. I'd go buying the sunscreen just in case. The Florida Panthers were unable to defend home ice. Friday's game ended in a 4-2 loss where the Cats allowed 1 goal each in the first 2 periods, then only scoring 2 too late. Sunday's game slowly spiraled out of hand in the 3rd period as the Bruins score 4. Again, the Cats outshoot the opponent but can't seem to find the back of the net. Penalties have hurt the Panthers all season, and that game was no exception. The Bruins scored 2 back-to-back critical power play goals to strike first. Hope isn't lost, though, as the comeback Cats are known to claw their way back in. Game 5 of the series will be in Boston on Wednesday. Vamos Gatos.
Without a doubt, Miami is full of great sports teams, but who is the best of all of them? This is something we need to figure out before we go on summer break. So we have all of our analysts to discuss who is the greatest team in the Great Debate.
Welcome to the Great Debate here, where we're going to be going over some of our favorite South Florida sports memories, some of the best years in South Florida sports, and we're going to be deciding which of these teams has the best legacies. On the panel, we have our Marlins specialist.
My name is Kevin Barrios, and I'll be representing the Marlins in this scenario.
We have our Florida Panthers specialist.
I'm Tanya Jimenez.
And we have our Miami Dolphins specialist.
I'm Seth Leon, and I'll be representing the Miami Dolphins.
And I'm going to be representing the Miami Heat. So just to get this started off, I think you have to mention the Big Three era Heat. Obviously, the 2013 Heat is probably the best team that the Heat have ever seen. 66 and 16 over the regular season. Obviously, went to the NBA championship and won. There's not a better Heat team than that. I think it's hard to find one that beats that.
You know, I'll step in here. I'll stop you right there. Me personally, I think the 2003 Marlins team is one of the greatest teams South Florida has ever seen, you know. Against all odds, you know, they won the World Series. They had a negative record towards the beginning of the season. They fired their manager. They got a new one. We were in the midst of a fire sale. We brought up prospects like Dontrell Willis, Miguel Cabrera, and against all odds, we went against the New York Yankees in the World Series and managed to win. I don't think it's about perfection in terms of the best season or the best team. I think it's about how you get knocked down and the way you get back up.
I mean, I can agree, but the thing is that the Marlins have consistently gotten knocked down every single year and refused to get up. But if we're talking about that one season, I can see why, you know, you might think that's the greatest season.
Exactly.
Okay, well, speaking of teams, all right, the Panthers, they're babies. They've only been around for 30 years, and they, you know, especially in the recent years, they've been able to show face. And how he mentioned before, they came back from almost nothing. I was venturing to say last year's season, last year's Panthers were the best, but you know, this season has just been absolutely phenomenal. You know, if you asked me in December, for example, if we were even close to the playoffs, I'd be like, absolutely not. But then, you know, on the back of Matthew Tkachuk and all these players, we were able to pull through, and now we're here. 3-1 is not a loss yet. I truly believe that they're showing, you know, they're showing up.
That is true. I just don't necessarily agree with the youth argument. You know, the Heat have only been around for 35 seasons, I think. Just slightly older, and we've been a lot more relevant for a longer period of time. But I'll give you last season. That was a great regular season. I just think you have to deliver in the postseason.
I completely agree with that, but I'd like to also mention just how out of place South Florida is in the hockey scene. You know, I feel like slowly but surely, just like with the MLS, hockey's going to take the South Florida by storm, and hopefully more people will start showing up.
Yeah, well, the Dolphins, like 1972 team, that's got to be the best. I understand you guys haven't been around that long, or you got your own arguments, but I mean, only undefeated team ever, you know, in NFL history. That season, scored the most points, led the league in points, allowed the fewest points, had 9 Pro Bowlers, most in NFL history. So that team's got to be it. Super Bowl champs, undefeated season, only one to ever do it.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say that because it was the only undefeated NFL team in history, but we're talking about a Cold War era title here. We're talking about an entire season, including the Super Bowl, that was just as long as the regular season is now. I think in the 2013 Heat, you saw the peak of arguably the greatest player to ever play the game, Dwayne Wade, on his last elite season, and you know, you saw one of the best stories in terms of learning to sacrifice for the better of the team in Chris Bosh, and one of the most iconic NBA Finals moments with Ray Allen. So I just think that one's incredibly hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Like, it was a long time ago. You know, they only had 14 regular season games that they won, 17 in total if you count the postseason. But I mean, undefeated is undefeated. I mean, you don't lose a game, and it's never been replicated as long as the NFL has stood, and that's why the Dolphins are celebrated every year. That season is celebrated every year.
I mean, I could agree.
I'd like to mention, although I believe that baseball is technically the hardest sport, because it is, I mean, for all intents and purposes, but when it comes to everything encapsulating the sport, there's no sport that comes close down here to hockey. That's the endurance, the stamina, I just believe that if you look at that as well, the Panthers show, I just really think that with a young team in South Florida where we haven't seen snow since like 1985, honestly, I feel like they deserve a lot of more attention.
At the end of the day, you guys make compelling arguments. And like you just said, baseball is the hardest sport. What other sport do you know where you can get a hit 30% of the time or get on base 30% of the time and you're considered one of the better players in your league? And when you talk about the Marlins, we did all of that in a year where everything was collapsing around us. Our owner did not want the team. He wanted to sell it. And guess what? We still, through it all, won the World Series. And I think that's how you overcome adversity, and that's just how you show you the best team ever in South Florida.
One thing I'll give you with the Marlins is that they probably have the best story of any South Florida championship winning team. The Dolphins season, I could probably resonate more if I had a parent who was alive to see it, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. But yeah, I think you guys make compelling arguments. I just find it hard to beat peak LeBron winning a championship for Miami.
I want to touch on the point that Tanya and you made about the team being 30, 35. That is true, but the Dolphins, when they won that, was 5 years old. 5 years old organization.
That is true.
So
in 1972.
Yeah, it was in 1972, but it was very soon after they had just established themselves. But since its conception, in '66, I believe, it was 5 years after, and they won. So
I agree. To be a new team, it's incredibly difficult to obviously find success that quickly. But regardless, at the very least, we've all had seasons that we can debate that have been the greatest. All of our teams have seen relative success. Hopefully the Panthers can get up there one day. But regardless, that's going to be the end of this panel. I don't think we have a clear winner. Just want to say all of our teams.
I don't know about that.
I think we should leave this one up to the fans. What do you say we put up an Instagram poll?
Let's leave it to the fans in the Instagram poll. But regardless, that's been all the time we have for the great debate. Thank you guys for watching. That's all the time we have for this season. I'm Alfredo Benegas.
And I'm Kenneth Bueno. On behalf of our entire Sideline crew that made this show possible, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the fall. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Sideline, the place where you get all the highlights for your favorite South Florida teams.
You don't lose a game, and it's never been replicated as long as the NFL has stood. The Patriots came close. And that might have been, if they won that season, the most historic of all time.
Andrew Grudy.
Three, two, one. Sideline! Wait, are we going up or down? Up or down?
We went left. I haven't been organized sports.
No, it's a video. Just pose. I don't even know which one I'm supposed to be looking at. Just the